And your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200-something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer, an explorer, going into space, mathematics.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy freaking hump day, folks. It's a great day for humping. For those in the market today, it's a great day to be humping. Some might even say a day for humping. I got my favorite guy here. Arnie Boy is here for now. Hopefully he sticks around. Like freaking clockwork, man. He'll be back. He'll be back. He's always back. Well, this one is episode number 549, 549, block height, 549 of the show. And this one's titled Bitcoiners Should Feel Stupid. And it looks like I attracted some people. I haven't seen the comment section yet, but I'm guessing people are all butthurt because I called them stupid. Stupid idiots. Stupid idiot Bitcoiners. That's who we're talking about today. What a bunch of dipshits. 1,000-hour dipshits. How's everybody doing today? I need some help today. I need some of your help. I'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, we got 30 people over in Rumble and we got 3 likes. That cannot be true. Last time we had that kind of a ratio, I dropped the miner off the desk here and it broke. So we don't need any more of that. So let's just all get over to Rumble. Let's all make sure that we're subscribed to the channel. We're 3 away from 500. Some point here, we're going to cross the shows to followers are going to cross, or subscribers. And then we're never going to look back. But shout out to the people on Rumble. God bless. And if you haven't yet, make sure you press the thumbs up. Although I haven't really done much to earn it today yet, but I will. I will. And we get some people over on YouTube today. I don't know if Noster's working or not. Apparently it's working, but you can zap the show. So what the hell's the point, really? But we got some orange element today, some Sunny D. Getting some sodium in the system, some electrolytes. Light it up. Light it up, baby. Oh, man, that was a straight shot to the freaking nose. Anyways, I guess I should get to the comments here. How about that instead of dicking around? But I'm sure you know what I'm going to talk about today. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. But Bitcoiners should feel stupid. That's the title of today's show. And you should. If you're watching this January 24th, some of my best friends' birthdays today. 2 of them shared this birthday. 2 of my best friends growing up shared the birthday of June 24th. One of them is actually no longer around, believe it or not. Same age as me. She was born in 1988, June 24th, 1988. And she lost her pretty early, actually, to cancer. But it is her birthday today. She was one of my best friends growing up. One of the only people that would talk to this weirdo from the small town. I lived in a very small town when I was a kid. Up to the age of about 10, I lived in a town of about 200 people. 200 people. I don't know what the official population would be. Let me check. Let me check because we got the government going around, creeping around, crawling around right now, asking for everybody's information. The census. The government of Canada census is going around, and we got a bunch of creepy crawlers coming to the property here trying to get us to fill out their freaking survey. So let's see what the last census said of the population. But anyways, we moved out of there when I was 10, and we moved to the big city of 10,000 people. And she was one of my best friends. She was the only one that... oh, wow. Okay. I underestimated. This is from 2016, but it says 709. 709. It felt like 200. Maybe that must include all the freaking small towns around there. Must be the municipality. 709. No more, no less. But so yeah, it's her birthday today. And then one of my other best friends growing up from that town that I moved away from, his birthday was today. I just texted him right now, or about 10 minutes ago, and said happy birthday. So anyways, that's the story for today. What's going on here today? What's going on? Feeling good. It's a good day. Sats and Sunsets is here. Good morning, Sats and Sunsets. The man, the Smith, the mighty duck, the legend himself. Lauren Stern is here too. Good morning, Lauren. Praetorian, the Guardian. Not everybody has a nickname, but some do. Man, I've been just had this freaking song in my head now for days. That Morgan Wallen song. I like going on Instagram because every time I go on Instagram now, wow, I said that so stupid twice in a row. Every time I go onto Instagram, what did I say? Every time I go onto Instagram, combine like 3 words there. Go onto Instagram. Every time I go onto Instagram, I see Morgan Wallen video about the song. What's it called? We don't, we do, don't we? That's what it's called. Don't we? And it's about being proud of where you're from. And it's a good song. I'm glad to see Morgan Wallen because he's a massive artist. And I've seen a couple big country artists in the last year. Morgan Wallen, Riley Green, Nate Smith, Ella Langley, a couple more too have come out as not conservative, but freedom lovers, non-woke idiots. That's what they've come out as. And it's great to see because a lot of kids and young teenagers and people overall look up to these people. So it's good to see finally it seems like they're being a little bit vocal about, the right kind of pride. The right kind of pride. It's been a pretty muted Pride Month, to be honest with you. It's June 24th today. And I mean, especially where I live, there's definitely no crosswalks here with a freaking rainbow on it, but it seems more muted than usual. And even in Prague, I was in Prague for a week. I don't think I saw one pride flag there. Again, I have nothing against gay people. I don't. I'm sure anybody who's watched the show for more than 5 minutes knows that. It's just they don't need a whole fucking month. That's for sure. And the whole divide and conquer strategy that they're attempting to use gay people for is it's sickening. Sickening, you might say. Bitcoin Barber's here. The barber himself or herself. But as we know, that's it. Himself or herself, but that's it. VHF is here, says for the algo. Good morning, VHF. Marcia. Marcia says buy XRP, but I think that's a joke because it says XRP is in urine, and they have a Bitcoin logo in their moon boy. I was called a moon boy the other day online. I was called a Bitcoin moon boy online, and I'm proud of it. It's a proud label. I'm proud to embrace that. But either way, good morning, Marcia. Morning, Ducks. Good morning, Captain. I almost gave you a left-handed salute, but that wouldn't have been right. Good morning, Captain. Good to see you, my friend. XRP is digital urine specimen. It's true. It's true. Ducks of a feather fly together. XRP equals scam city. Asian markets crashed yesterday. Hope you all brought Bitcoin yesterday and today. Bitcoin Barber, I know you're here most days. We buy a Bitcoin every freaking day, no matter what's going on. That's just what we do. Just what we do, baby. They all rely on the U.S. stock market. That is why I buy U.S. only. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today because I saw some comments yesterday. We had a really good show. Just in case you haven't watched it yet, if you're watching this on YouTube, this will be really easy for you. If you're watching this on Rumble, you might have to do it later, but make sure you check out the BTC Mastermind. We had a great show yesterday. A great show. We had Jerry Legendary join us. Jerry Legendary was on the stream, and we also had Lou Valentino from LV Nation on the show. It was a good show, really good show. But it kind of inspired some of what we're going to be talking about today. Oh, that's not what I want, but I'll share the exact video for you if you want. I'm sure most people here have watched it, but just in case you haven't, we do those shows every Tuesday. We've actually built a pretty good niche, hardcore niche following over on the BTC Mastermind. It's kind of like Maple. Not a whole lot of people know about Maple. Like, we're not really that well known, but everybody who I talk to, everybody who reaches out to me, they just love Maple Bitcoin. And it's the same kind of thing happening with the Mastermind, except maybe even bigger, because we have Maple Bitcoin, and then we add two guys in there, Robin Sayer and Brandon Gentili, the boys. And we have some great chats every Tuesday. So just in case you're not subscribed, if you haven't checked them out yet, make sure you do. Make sure you do that. But we had some guy talking in there yesterday about how we talk about Bitcoin too much. Bitcoin is not the only thing we need. Arnie's back. I told you he'd be back. I told everybody you'd be back. I told them. Ginger's here. Ginger says good morning. Good morning, Ginger. Let's check the Bitcoin price. We'll check it right away. Mike is here. Good morning, freaks. As my uncle says, that's also what Rabbit Hole Recap audience, that's what they call themselves, freaks. Good morning, freaks. I like that. Bitcoin Barber's here. He says 6117K. Nice. Kev Keith working, but lurking in the background. Working and lurking. All right. Good morning, Kev. Good to see you, my friend. Looks like Bitcoin is headed to 58K today. Nice. Captain says Bitcoiners felt stupid at 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. It is true. That is true words. Yes. This is my favorite comment so far today. From the Massacre. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that Jenny? The Massacre 1, 2, 3, 4 says, have to turn down the intro every time my family thinks I need to be sent to an institution.
Then your children are turned into mindless vassals who now.
I could be at about a 0. No, not a 0. I'm never at a 0. I don't think I've ever been at a 0 in my life. Let's say I'm at a 5. 5 out of 10 for the day. I'm here. The show is set up. We're getting ready to go. And as soon as I press that button,
then your children are turned into mindless vassals.
It's like a freaking straight shot of electricity into me. So God bless Alex Jones. I was getting a little ahead of myself there. God bless Alex Jones. What an intro that is. I actually don't even know who made that intro. That's the crazy part. Is I just found it on Nostr one day and I was like, let's try it out tomorrow. And I've pretty much done it every day since. So I like it. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Scotty boy, is this the right place for turkeys? Yeah, Scotty hit the turkey last night on, was that Backpacker show? The Flipper, baby Flip was, I guess she's not a baby, but she's the baby of the family. And she pulled Scotty boy out 3 times. Mr. Max says, buy the dip. Buy the dip. We only feel stupid for 4 years. Yeah. That's a long freaking time, though, to feel stupid. I felt stupid before Bitcoin. See, that's funny because I didn't. I thought that I was, I thought I was doing everything right. Maybe that's a lie. Because like deep down inside me, even though I was like doing things as I should, according to the rules of society, go to school, go to another school, go to another school, get a job, buy a house, get married. Nah, I didn't make it there. I didn't make it that far, thankfully. But I was damn close. I was damn close, but I thought I was doing everything right. And it wasn't actually until Bitcoin that I figured out how fucking stupid I was. That's the thing. So I knew deep down that I wasn't doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's tough, man. It's tough to break out of that. And I know there's a lot of people going through that right now. A lot of people who have left their jobs just because they don't want to do it anymore. And fortunately for me, after a few years of scratching and clawing and throwing a bunch of shit at the wall, I finally found something that I like. I finally found something that I like and I really enjoy doing. And it's hanging out here with you guys and girls every morning and talking about Bitcoin, talking about the most interesting topic on the planet that hardly anybody knows about. So we're good to go here. 1943 Marco is here. Rockabilly is here. J-Dog says, stupid and warm here. Hottest day for 50 years in the UK. Scorchio. You know, I was talking to somebody in Europe, and they were talking about how, I forget if it was too dry or too warm, whatever it was. And I said, man, we're going through like the exact opposite in Canada right now. Like these last couple of years in Canada have been freaking cold and wet. And I'm tired of it. Tired of it. Most of my childhood was in a town of 700-ish. Okay, so there we go. We got some small town boys and girls. Rockabilly, guitar. So what happened with what? What happened with what? Did I start telling a story and not finish it? I'm sorry if I did. I tend to do that. Jake, 21 hats. Good morning. I want a straight month, or even better, a straight ginger month, says Ginger. You know, I would say that redheads deserve a full month. But like, where does it end? I would like a month for straight guys as well, or guys with brown eyes, or white males, straight white males. I think we should get at least a month. Personally, we don't even get a day. We get fuck all. We just get hated on and undermined by society. But it's good. It makes you stronger. It really does. It really does. And depending on how who you are, where you are, you might take this a little bit differently. But it's just crazy to me that you look at society and everything that's been built and how people act, and it's still the white male who's getting shit on the most. And the reason I say that is because you literally see this everywhere. You go to apply for a job. I think I've told this story, but Bridges' brother actually went to apply for a job that he really wanted. Like he's wanted to do this specific job his whole life. And he went to apply for it. And the guy there, or girl, whoever it was, but that's it, basically said, you're not going to get this job. And what they advised him to do was to lie on his application and say that he was either of color or of whatever you call freaking the gay community, a minority. They basically told him to fill out his application, lie on his application, fill it out as a minority just so that he could get an interview. Because if he wasn't a minority on that job application, they'd just throw it out. Like, how fucking crazy is that? If that's not the most racist shit that you've ever heard in the last 50 years, I don't know what is. So this isn't my opinion. This is real things that happen here every day. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. I got a great life, so I don't complain too much. I have a great life. It's just that I don't really like how, things are going. But, out of my control. I just talk about it, and who knows? The only way to actually try to make some change in the world is to talk about it. And actually, it's funny. It's really funny. I was watching. Get that freaking comment off here. Eggs RP. I was watching a show last night. It was called Full Swing. I don't know how many golf fans are out there, but it's like the PGA documentary where they follow the boys to the different tournaments and the Ryder Cups and the President's Cups. And it's a good show. It's on Netflix. If you've never watched Full Swing and you have any sort of interest in golf, or even if you don't, it's a good show. There's 4 seasons on there. This last season was cut short. I think they weren't even going to do it until Rory won the Masters in 2025. But anyways, the point is, I heard something, and I've actually watched this episode a few times now. Because, I don't like trying new stuff. I do and I don't. Like if there's foods and stuff that I like, I usually stick to those. I'm not very explore. Oh, what would you say there? I'm not very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. But anyways, food, shows. So I watched this a couple times now, and there was something that happened on the show last night that I kind of glossed over before, but it was Shane Lowry. And Shane Lowry was walking up the fairway on the 18th hole. So just as a little bit of context here for those who aren't golfers or who haven't watched it before, the Ryder Cup happens every 2 years, and it's a very big thing. It's a team event. It's the only team event in golf where the U.S. plays against Europe. And those are the 2 teams, U.S., Europe. Fuck everybody else, I guess. Canadians, Australians, everybody else, but U.S. and Europe. But it's been going on for a while, so it's a tradition. And so Shane Lowry was walking down the fairway. The Europeans had it's a 3-day event. Europeans had a really good Friday and Saturday. They were way up. The odds of the Americans coming back on Sunday were like basically 0. But the Americans started making a charge on Sunday of the Ryder Cup. It's single, so there's lots of points up for grabs. And I think the Americans were like 3 matches away from actually coming back and winning the Ryder Cup. So all the Europeans needed was a half point. So they needed to tie one of these last 4 matches. And or maybe it was like the last 7 matches. And the US won, the US won, the US won. And then it was Shane Lowry. And so he's walking up the fairway, and he told this story after. But he said, he said out loud, he basically had a putt to tie the match, to win the hole, to tie the match, and to win the Ryder Cup. He had about a 10-foot putt. And so he was walking up the fairway, and he said to his caddy, he said something along the lines of, "This is the biggest moment of my life. This is what I've been waiting my entire life for. This is my moment." Said something like that. And for me as a golfer, that's something that I would never think to do, because you're kind of like taught to not think about things in golf. You're not supposed to think about your score. You're not supposed to think about the outcome or the result or anything like that. The less thinking you can do on the golf course, the better off you usually are. And that's what we're taught as golfers. But what Shane Lowry said, he said that when he said it out loud, he needed to say it out loud to get it out of him. And that makes sense. And I think that what I thought of was like, when you're keeping everything in your head and you're having these conversations with yourself, and you're putting, going through the situation and what this means, and what this means for Europe, and what this means for the team, and what this means for my career. These are all things going around in your head. But if you can say it out loud, it kind of gets it out of that. And when you can say it out loud, you almost speak it into existence. You say, "Hey, this is my moment." And when you say it, again, the universe responds to that. It kind of gets away from the confusion in your head. Because when you're walking up that fairway, you have 1,000 different thoughts going through your head, and one's pulling you this direction, one's pulling you this direction. But if you can say something out loud, it almost gets rid of all that and sets you on a clear path. And so I never really thought about that before. Again, we've always kind of been taught to just like, don't think about it almost. Don't put any sort of weight into it. It's just a putt. It's just a match. It's just a whatever. But you say it out loud, and then everything's aligned. It's like how everything was created. It was spoken into existence. And so I think there's something there. I know this was kind of a golf analogy there, but I think that the more things that you actually desire to happen in your life, the more you can actually speak it out loud, it gets rid of the confusion. It makes the path very clear, because you've intentionally spoken those words aloud. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, even though there's nothing that I can do about it, the only thing that I can do is speak about it, and speak as much truth about it, and shine as much light on it as I can. And maybe eventually, if there's enough people like me and like you, then we actually will make a change in the world. And that's for Pride Month, Ginger Month, Straight White Male Month, and Bitcoin overall. We have to speak about this stuff. That's the only way it's going to happen. You have to speak about it. It's the most powerful thing you can do is speak something into existence. I believe anyways. I believe that. Exploratory, that's what I'm looking for. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you, my friend. Paulie D is here. He says, good morning, soldiers. Daisy just caught and ended a bunny from under the deck for Arnie this morning. 222. All right, we actually had a couple zaps to Arnie Boy. We had a couple zaps to Arnie Boy today. So we got the 222 from Paulie. We got a shot of espresso here from Chuck. Chuck said, come back, Arn. I think he listened to you, Chuck. We got a 420. I don't know who that was from. Maybe David T. Be my guess to Arnie Boy. And then our guy Bill. Actually, that was last night. The 420 came in. So I don't know who that was from. 10:30 p.m. And then we had a 6102 attack from our guy Bill to Arnie Boy, to the Rescue Dog Fund right here. So thank you, Paulie. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, David T. I'm going to guess it was. And thank you to Bill. And is Arnie still here? Yeah, he's here. He listened to you, Chuck. Look at that good boy. Man, I saw the best freaking video today about dogs, and it's so true. It's so true. I wish I could find it now. I can't believe I didn't save that video. Just freaking melted my heart. But it was about just how dogs can dogs literally just do nothing. Like they just exist. And they just change your whole mood. Like the excitement, the energy, everything about a dog. And this is actually one of the reasons why I got a dog, because I did a little bit of self-reflecting. And, I was like, what things in life really make me happy? What do I see? What do I do in life where it's like, I just smile, or it just gives you that feeling. And I knew myself, I always wanted a dog growing up. We never had one, but I knew that every time I saw a dog, no matter what they were doing, no matter what kind of dog it was, that I would just smile. And again, they weren't doing anything. They weren't like trying to be funny. They weren't like doing anything stupid. They were just like literally walking down the road. And it just made me smile. It just changed my whole mood around by seeing a dog. And so I was like, well, why would I give up any more days of my life without that feeling every day? So Arnie showed up. JH441 says, I didn't feel stupid until I graduated college and moved up the ladder. Finally making 100K, then realizing how little it is now to support a family versus purchasing power 10 years ago and prior. Man, isn't that true? How much, you got to work your freaking ass off these days. Like, not just go to school, not just work overtime, but basically put every ounce of your soul into your job to earn 100K. And by the time they take the taxes and the payroll taxes and the CPP and the employment insurance and the sales taxes and the carbon taxes and all this shit, you're left with pretty much fuck all. So you're like, why did I do all that? Why did I spend so much of my life chasing this when I get absolutely nothing for it? And a lot of people right now are going through that exact same light bulb moment. And a lot of people are leaving their job. And I don't know what the outcome is. I don't know how it all plays out. But I know that people are much better off for it. And I do know that without Bitcoin, if I didn't have some Bitcoin in my cold storage, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I know that for a fact. So Bitcoin's great insurance. Alaskan Wolf 5220. Hi, Jor, long time. Good morning, Alaskan Wolf. Lee J. Jason 369 says, good morning, gang. Good morning, Lee J. Jason? Why is it Lee J? What's Lee J about? What's that about? Lee J. Whoa. What the heck? Matt is here. 6'5" Sats, Bob, Stewie, Mark. The boys are here. Psyops get power from us giving them attention. 100%. Hundo P. Gingers are awesome and descendants of giants. I didn't know that. Rich says we've got a ginger festival in Ireland. Mighty day out for the pasty skinned. Yeah, I feel like most redheads have Irish descent. Is that true? Most redheads have some sort of Irish blood in them. 1/16th Aboriginal. Trust me, bro. Yeah, that's what I mean. You could just identify whatever you want to these days. Identify as Aboriginal. Well, we watched that guy last week, the guy who Walking Tomahawk, he called himself. Fuck, that guy's funny. We should just watch one of his videos every day. Open to new experiences. Well, I am. I'm open to it. I just stick with what I know, if you know what I mean. Adventurous, yep. Inquisitive, also another one. Adventurous, exploratory. Man, you guys should be doing the show. Picky. Wouldn't straight white male month be both racist and sexist, according to some? Yeah, 100%. And fascist. Bigots. It's a double standard. 100% it is. Everything's a fucking double standard these days. Daisy the Destroyer. Maria 2500, also known as Maria 5K, also known as Maria 7K, also known as Maria 8K. And once in a while, sometimes on Fridays, we get Maria 10K. Good morning, Maria. Howdy to you. When is Bitcoin month? That's a good question. When should Bitcoin month be? October or January? Which one? What's a more important day for Bitcoin? White paper day, October 31st, or the Genesis block, January 3rd? I think we should go October 31st. I think that one makes sense to me. Because that's when that's when it was released. That's when the idea of Bitcoin was released into the wild. October 31st, 2008. And it's about time we replaced Halloween anyways. What a freaking bad day of the year, Halloween. And it's orange. Good call. Good call. I'm going with I'm voting for October. I'm voting for October 31st. That's my vote as Bitcoin Day. January 3rd, obviously important as the Genesis block day back in 2009. But I think we got to go October 31st. I think we got to claim that one back from Halloween. I think we got to claim that one back. Bitcoin Nurse is here. TBN says, good morning. Dogs are the best. No doubt. I like cats too. I never used to like cats. I like Lucky. But there's just something different about a dog than a cat. Hard to explain. Hard to put into words. 100K, same as 25K in 2000 is living standard. Bitcoin Well just put that out. Wow. So you've lost 75% of your purchasing power in the last 26 years. That is crazy. Because everybody's seeing like the chart from 1913, basically, when the Federal Reserve was created and the purchasing power going down to like 90 to 1%. But in 26 years, that's a little bit different. Most people are still around from 26 years ago. 75% of your purchasing power. Not even that. That's a bad word to use, and I shouldn't be using that. And I apologize. It's not 75% of your purchasing power. It's 75% of your life. 75% of your life. Because in the year 2000, let's say that you had $100,000 in your bank account and you've been saving up for many, many years, and maybe you're 40, 50 years old, you're hoping to retire by the time you're 65 or 70, you got $100,000. That $100,000 today is only worth $25,000 in terms of what you can buy with it. So what does that mean? Because if you would have got to 100K, how do you get 100K? You work. You take your time, your energy, and you provide some sort of value to the world. And in return, you get money. So that was basically the equivalent of your time and energy added up to $100,000. That's how much you gave to the world, how much of your life that you sacrificed at your job or whatever you did to earn that money. 26 years later, that's now worth $25,000. So 75% of your life was stolen by the government. 75% of your life was stolen by the government. And when you hear shit like that, just makes you wonder why anybody pays any sort of attention to them at all. Like, I don't think the trust in government has ever been lower than it is today. And I do not see that turning around at all. So you see numbers like that. And then you think of like the people who spend so much of their life, like doctors, nurses, whoever you want to call it, I would say they're the most productive, but whoever it is, they're not productive, but they spent the most time. They have a pretty big impact on society. They help people, they save people, or, some of them do. Some of them also kill people. But you know what I mean? Doctors, nurses, whoever spent a lot of time working for what they do, they're helping people or they want to help people. Most do. They go to work. January 1st rolls around. January 1st rolls around. The first time that they actually get paid is in July. I know they get paid. They get money coming into their bank account, even though the government takes half it before it even gets to their bank account. But if you consider somebody who pays like a 55% tax rate here in Canada, that basically means that from January to July, you went to work for the government. And what did they do for you? What did you get back in exchange for 6 months of your life? Free healthcare? Is that like the big promise? It's funny. We were watching a documentary here last night, and it was about these remote parks in Canada. And there was like 40 people who lived on this reserve, or I think it was an indigenous town. But the roads there were just perfect, like perfectly paved, not a piece of gravel on the road, nothing, just perfect. And then you look at the roads we have here, populated by 100,000 times more people, and there's potholes. It's like this. It's like a safari every time you're driving down the road here. So you just ask the question: half of my year that I gave to the government. What did I get back for it? Well, they did some studies on how to turn goldfish gay in Pakistan last year. And Zelensky got some more powder to put up his nose. And it's just like, what are we doing here? And the thing is like people are figuring this out. People are slowly waking up to this reality of how much we're getting ripped off right now. So the cool thing is like, all roads lead to Bitcoin. Not everybody starts out like, oh yeah, Bitcoin's the cure. First, you got to figure out what the disease is. And people are starting to figure out what the disease is, which eventually leads them to something like gold or silver or land or something like that. Because they're just like, why would I have any cash? Why would I have any money in the bank? Number one, it could be frozen at any time if I say something stupid. Number two, it's just melting. It's a melting ice cube. And there's actually a good comment here that we should maybe touch on right now because it's very applicable to this. But this was from, we actually did a video. I didn't even realize this was Willie, from our guy Willie, who we talked about last week. And can we zoom in on this? Right here, Willie. Willie says the problem is people don't really see the problem. Well, I kind of disagree with that. I think that people actually do see the problem now. They think that, but this is true. They think that things are getting more expensive is caused by greedy capitalists and landlords raising prices. That is true. But it's the other way around. Things cost the same, only your money is being diluted. See, even this word, diluted. People see that, they're like, diluted. Who cares? It should say your money is being fucking stolen. Your time, your energy, your life is being stolen by bloodsuckers, Like, this is way too nice. It should say your energy, your time, your life is being stolen by bloodsuckers, by parasites. That's what this should say. People should think about this. They were born and they will die one day. Their time is scarce. They spend 1/3 of their life working, i.e., losing their precious time, and they get money instead. Money is their saved life energy, and the saved life energy should not deteriorate so they can use it when they will be old and ill or whenever the hell they want to. But instead, money, the thing they save in, is stolen every day. Their life, their blood is being sucked away from them. They basically going every day to a river. I like this analogy. They're basically going every day to a river, and they're carrying water with a bucket to their house on the hill, and they pour the water into cistern with holes. They're basically going to the river. They're carrying water in a bucket to their house, and they pour the water into cistern with holes. Literally what's happening. And most people are just like, okay, well, death and taxes, that's how it is, which was also a fucking government operation, death and taxes. Could you imagine you're living your life as that's like your mantra, your mentality? Matt, death and taxes. Well, I better behave. I better go to church so that one day, whenever my taxes have been paid and I finally leave this earth, I can get to heaven. As long as I pay enough, as long as I do the right things. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Oh yeah, I'm missing a lot of comments here. Sorry, folks. If you're fat and lazy, the government will pay you to sit at home. Great gig. Or if you're skinny and, addicted to drugs, same thing. Mashup of given names. Do not give the anti-straight white male psyop any attention or energy. I don't want a month, for the record. Nah, that's fair. I'm not giving it any energy. I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense. I guess I am giving it energy. But, I feel like we're back. I saw Tom McDonald. I don't know how most people feel about him, but he released a song the other day called Remember Who You Are. And it's based on like the Instagram videos, the Remember Who You Are white boy. And it's got 2.4 million views in like 3 days. So again, I don't think that I agree with VHF in the sense that we shouldn't be giving it any sort of energy, because to me, it doesn't matter. And I think that that's really what people want more than anything else. Isn't like for them to be, given a month or given any sort of priority or treated any differently than other people. I don't think that that's what people want. I just think that people want to be treated fairly. That's it. Like the DEI, the diversity, inclusion, and equity thing that went on for like 5 years there, that was probably one of the most insane things in human history. Because we were giving people jobs in like very high risk situations, like a pilot or a doctor or security or whatever it may be. People were given priority based on their skin color and how they identify, their sexuality type. It wasn't the best person. Could you imagine your grandpa or your great grandpa hearing about that? And compared to their day, in terms of whoever was best to do a job, or police. Police is another great example. There's a lot of people who shouldn't be police officers who are police officers because of DEI. And when push comes to shove with some of those police officers, they're going to be on the wrong end of the push comes to shove because they're not meant to be police officers. But because they're a certain skin color, or they're a certain sex, or they have a specific sexual preference, they were given priority over somebody who was much more qualified to do that job. So yeah, I agree with VHF. I don't think that we need a month. It was just kind of a joke. But I think what people want is to be treated equally. Whoever is most qualified, whoever's put in the most proof of work should be given a position. That's it. Simple as that. Like, that's all that there needs to be. That to me is fair. And I think that that's why I'm so, I hate using the word passionate, because it's just kind of cringe. But that's why I put so much of my time and energy into Bitcoin and talking about Bitcoin and showing up here every day, is because to me, Bitcoin represents fair. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who your great grandpa was. It doesn't matter what skin color you have or who you like to have sex with. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin doesn't care. If you want some Bitcoin, you have to put in some work for it. Nobody has the ability to create units of Bitcoin without some sort of proof of work. It's shifting us back to that world of fair. We were talking about January 3rd, 2009, the very first Bitcoin block, the Genesis block, the Satoshi mined. He knew that he was the only one who could mine that block. What did he do? He made those 50 Bitcoin unspendable forever because he didn't want any sort of taint in this network, in this protocol. So ever since the very first block, block 0, Bitcoin has all been given out fairly. Not equally. That's a very important distinction there, I think. Not equally, but in a fair way. And the people who took a risk back in 2010, 2011, who were mining on their freaking laptops, the people who took a risk, they got paid very well for that. And it's just like today, the people who are here today in 2026, even though you look at the YouTube comments, you look on Twitter, you talk to your friends and family, and everybody thinks you're an idiot. But these are the things that you have to go through to get that reward. And it's not even so much about the reward, it's for standing up for what you believe in. And that's what I believe. I think Bitcoin is much, much bigger than money, investing, return. It's signaling to the world that you're fucking done with that. And there were some people in the comment section in the live chat yesterday saying, "Oh, all you guys do is talk about Bitcoin. Did you know that there's other investments out there?" You're doing your audience a disservice by talking about Bitcoin only. It's like you're missing the whole fucking point here. This isn't about getting rich. This isn't about how many sats you have in your wallet or how much money you have in your bank account. This is about completely withdrawing from that system who is continuously fucking people over every single second of every single day. That's what Bitcoin is. And that's why it is Bitcoin only to me. Because yeah, I could probably make a better return holding my money in Stretch or Nvidia or Apple right now. I could. But then I'm giving my time and energy and my capital back to that system. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm here to do. So that's why people call us stupid, is because they don't understand what we're doing here. We're not chasing gains. Some people are. I shouldn't say, there's some people in the chat I can see right in front of my face here who are chasing gains and trading Bitcoin. But that's not why I'm here at all. It helps. It helps, of course, because then you have more economic influence. It helps because it brings new people in the door. And some of those people stick around. And then we just have this new wave of Bitcoiners talking about Bitcoin. So it matters. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't matter. It does matter. But that's not the why here. That's a component of it. Well, there's one I was talking about right there. White paper day. I think it has to be white paper day. So I'm way behind now. I'm way behind. Yakking too much. True Orthodox Inquirer says it's even worse than that because you pay 50% in taxes on the remainder. So it's 75% plus 12.5%. So 85.5% stolen. Might as well make it 90%. 9/10 of your energy is and wealth confiscated by the government. It reminds me of that. It reminds me of that episode of Breaking Bad where Jesse, I think it's Jesse Pinkman. He's like, "How does he keep getting away with this?" Or something like that. And it's like they're not going to get away with it forever. They're just not. Because every single person who understands this and just starts opting out of that system, their system just gets weaker. There's nothing written in the laws of the universe that says you have to give anything to those fucking parasites. There's just not. You weren't born owing anybody anything. You just weren't. And you know, there's this book I keep talking about. It's called Happy Pocket Full of Money. Happy Pocket Full of Money. And you guys better get pretty familiar with that book. If you're not going to, you're going to get familiar with it anyways, because in August I'm going to start doing something slightly different in terms of the channel here, in terms of something else. I'm not going to say too much. It's not going to be a huge change for anybody. Just like, you know, we switched the show to be called Reason to Believe. But I'm going to be doing something in August that's going to be very heavily focused on the Happy Pocket Full of Money book. It's about 7-hour audio book, but there's so much insight in that book, and it's had such a profound impact on me that I feel like I want to spend more of my time talking about it and how it relates to Bitcoin and hard money and where we're going to here. But there's a chapter at the end of that book where the author, and I think we figured out it was written in like the 1990s or early 2000s, might even been later than that. What the author basically said, he was talking about how you should allocate your paycheck. And he's like, you should give 10% to charity. So whatever you want, you know, whatever you want improved in the world, whether it's rescue dogs or cancer care or whoever, you should give 10% of your income to charity. You should save 10% of your paycheck. Save it. Put it in the bank. It's there forever. And I really think that if Bitcoiners had that mentality of like, I'm taking 10% of my paycheck, I'm buying Bitcoin with it, and I'm never going to think about it again. That's my retirement fund. I'm not looking at what the price is today, what it was last week, what it could be next month. It's just that 10% is my savings. Bitcoin. You know how much better you would feel if you just did that and didn't ever look at Bitcoin price? You just bought no matter what the price was. Think about how much time you would have saved in your life by and stress and anxiety and all this shit. Just 10%, boom, Bitcoin, done. See you in 50 years. Hell, see you in 20 years even, but not see you in 20 days. So 10% to charity, 10% to savings, and 10% to government. Because the author argued that in order to have a functioning society, you need a good government. And so you should be paying 10% of your income to the government, which, you know, if it was 10%, I would actually be behind that. I would. Even though I still think it would be too much. If we have some sort of governance that makes sure that crime is down and the hospitals are not overflowing and the roads are drivable, 10% makes sense to me. And then 70% you spend on your life, your house, your car, your food, all that stuff, entertainment. So 10, 10, 10, 70. 10 to charity, 10 to savings, 10 to the government, 70 to your life, living. So 10%, he said, if you're paying more than 10%, that means that your government is extremely inefficient. Do you know how much most Canadians are paying in taxes, especially productive Canadians? It's like you get to keep 10%. So again, it's like this doesn't last forever. This is very temporary. And the harder they push, the further they reach, the crazier things get, the more people just say, I'm done. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it every single day. It's not forever. Or yeah, learning centers too. Forgot about them. PsyOps are endless. Alaskan Wolf says, not sure about them asking white people to appear as a minority, but it sure as hell that a company gives more preference to hire someone with the name Jor than Rajat. Don't you agree? I don't agree at all, actually. It's what I'm saying. Because if Rajat were to apply for a job in Canada, like police or government or something, he would identify as a minority because of his skin color. And so he would get preference over me. I don't know what you're trying to say here, Alaskan Wolf. That doesn't make any sense. A gay Pakistani goldfish. Welcome to 2026. And I often wonder why my subscriber count never goes up. Then I remember that all my transcripts are freaking, recorded. But I mean, it's reality. I'll never feel bad or ashamed for speaking the truth, or at least what's on my mind. I feel like too many people self-censor themselves. And that's how we ended up here. Need to start our own NGOs, non-government organizations, the most government organizations of all time. Think about who stole it from you, exactly. And now out in the open trying to steal more. This government needs to be squashed. Stack sats. Look, I'm all for putting thieves in the ground when folks are ready. Folks are not ready yet. Poly means many. Ticks, blood-sucking pests. Poly, ticks. Literally. Too many, too poly. And the worst kind of ticks too. Because they suck your blood and they give you a disease. Crazy. There's a hole in my bucket. Yeah, there's freaking silver hitting 50s. Nice. Clip that rant. What was that on? What was the rant about? I feel like I've been just ranting the whole day so far. Ness Industry says, hi, lively and lovely community. Been going through some hardship, but I'm so happy and grateful to be here today. God bless you. Thank you, Jor. I believe this is our guy, Peacemaker. Been going through some hardship. That's tough, my man. That's there's a lot of people going through hardship right now. But you got to remember, I know it's easier to say. There's two things I'd say. Is like, number one, if you even write the words or say the words out loud that I'm going through hardship, that's the story. That's your life. That's your reality right in front of you. And the more you say it, the more you water that idea inside of your brain, and the more that plant grows into something that's very detrimental to you. So I get it, man. I've been through the same shit. I really have. And you just got to put a little bit more focus on the only thing that matters is right in front of me. And this second, I want to decide to be happy. I want to decide to be grateful. I want to decide to be full of energy and a light into this world. You get to decide that every single second. It doesn't matter what happened 5 minutes ago or yesterday or what else is going on out there somewhere, but you just got to decide every moment that you can be aware of it, just to decide to be happy. It's crazy. It's the psycho-cybernetics, the neuroplasticity. You have the ability to change your own life every second of every day based on the thoughts that you think and the words that you say. But I feel for you, man. I know there's a lot of people going through that same shit, but I just want you to be to realize the importance of your words, typing, speaking, and all this stuff, and your thoughts too. But just, I know it's hard. So that's the first part. And the second part is like, I've really learned to just appreciate when things are good. You know what I mean? Appreciate when things are good. We never really think about it too much. It's like when you get sick and you're either battling a flu or a cold or something worse. And you're just like, man, I can't wait till I feel better. I can't wait till this goes away. And then it goes away. And you're just like, okay, well, you don't really feel anything. You just kind of take it for granted. So I think that you should appreciate more when, as Kip Moore would say, when you have the wind at your back. So those are just a couple things. I'm definitely an expert by no means, but this is something I think about all the time and listen to, and really try to apply in my life. So I feel for you, buddy. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate the kind words, and just focus on the right things. Pay attention to what you type, what you say, what you think. And believe it or not, if you can figure out a way to hack that, you can actually make significant changes in your day-to-day. We got 55 people over in Rumble. Wow, we might be back. We might officially be back. We got 40 people in YouTube, 55 people in Rumble. Too soon to say, but we might be back. We had some people fall off the cliff for a while after Prague, but it seems like we might be back. Scoff at it. Yeah, true. Military. Yeah, I forgot the friggin' military. I said police, but it's the same shit. Bitcoin Nerd says female cops in Canada these days have gained a lot of attention. Yeah. Yeah, he's freaking awesome, Tom McDonald. I like him too. Generational dip. I like that one. VHF says, I'm chasing gains, but I can also respect the hodler. I too am in this for the long haul. There's Bitcoin and Bitcoin only, stupid. True. Hey, Duncan's here. Duncan says, good morning, everyone. Back at 60K. I'm backing up the truck. Good man. Good man, Duncan. That's what we love to see. Okay, I'm almost caught up here. Like when they try to talk down to who built the country. True. I just feel like, why wouldn't you trade something that swings over 50% in value on a predictable cycle? Yeah. Yep. It's just that predictions don't always work out. They do sometimes. They might even do it often, but they don't always work out. And I would never want to be caught outside when this thing starts going, because it will. It's easy to sit here in Bitcoin today and be all down and, oh, Bitcoin's dead. Too much fighting in Bitcoin. What's going to happen? Everything's already happened. So what more could be bullish for Bitcoin? And it's just like, whenever that gets to the worst, and I feel like we're freaking close to that. I know there's a lot of people thinking October is going to be the bottom, but man, just based on the vibes in Bitcoin right now, I don't know. I'm not going to make any sort of predictions. I'm just not. My prediction is that Bitcoin in 20 years from now will be worth significantly more than it is today. My prediction is the longer you give your time, attention, and capital to the old world, the old system, the vampire casino, the longer it lasts. So am I potentially giving up some gains by keeping all my money in Bitcoin self-custody? Yeah, I am. But that's my vote. That's my vote saying that I'm fucking done with that world, that system, those vampires, parasites. I'm done with it. And even if I lose a little bit along the way, it doesn't matter. I got plenty. If this thing works out, all of us here watching this right now aren't going to have to worry about money ever again. So why spend time worrying about it? Why spend time thinking, oh God, I hope the price goes to this so I can buy more? Just fucking buy it. Put it into cold storage, move on with your life. This dip will let me retire when Bitcoin reaches 300K. Nice. I'm never going to retire myself. I'm always going to be doing something. I'm always going to be buzzing. Oh yeah, I should check on the zaps here. Sorry, folks. Been pretty shitty at this lately. Just the zap stream going down. It's just kind of killed my vibes. But we do still have some great people who love what we're doing here and do support the show every single day. And you know who you are. You know who you are. There's there's about five to 10 people here who really pull the weight, and especially lately. And a couple of those people are here today and have zapped today. One of these, shot of espresso from Maria. Shot of espresso. Maria 5K today. Thank you, Maria. We got a double shot straight to the veins from our guy Moravian. Moravian, it's good to see you yesterday, man. Moravian was in the chat for our digital homestead course. We got Maria. We got Mark, Bob, and Stewie, the boys. We got one from David T, it looks like. We got one from Sats and Sunsets for show number 49 today. And then we had Chuck to Arnie Boy. When we had Bill to Arnie Boy. So thank you very much. Again, we got no sponsors on here, and that's why I feel like I can talk about this kind of stuff, because I got no one to answer to. I got no sponsor saying, hey, Jor, what the hell are you talking about on the show the other day? What are you doing? Or, hey, Jor, you got to put out more stuff that, trick people into watching it. You got to stir more people up so we can get more eyeballs. Don't need it. Don't want it. And so we've taken the harder path here, I would say, anyways. And we got no sponsors. Zero sponsors on this show. The only thing that keeps the lights on here is the community, the school community, and the people who support the show here. So thank you for the zaps, for being members in the Visionaries community, and for the rants and memberships on YouTube and on Rumble. That's what we got. That's what we got. We decided no sponsors, and appreciate it. Should be 0% to the government for those who are alive now. All newborns and moving forward should be 10%. I agree, because we paid enough. And we might get back to it. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. I really think that even in 5 years from now, the world's going to look completely, it's going to be unrecognizable to what it is today in a lot of different ways. Taxes will be one of those things. That's my prediction. It's not going to take long, because word travels fast. The less people who are paying attention to that system, they need to do something. They can't just they're not just going to slowly fade away into the darkness. They're just not. They're either going to make some crazy changes, or they're going to just blow everything up. Could go either way. Nick says the grass is greener where you watered. Exactly. Whatever thoughts you have in your brain, the more you think about them, that's the equivalent of like pouring water on it. And so you have all these different thoughts in your head. Some of them good, some of them bad. But it's the ones that you think about over and over and over again. That's essentially you watering those ideas, those plants. And then those plants grow into something. And it's just like soil, where it doesn't matter what you plant. You put water and sunshine, it'll grow. It could be corn, it could be weed, it could be poison. It doesn't matter. The soil doesn't give a shit. Just like your mind doesn't know the difference either. It could be a good thought, it could be a bad thought. But it's the water is how many times you think about it, how many times you type it, how many times you say it out loud. That's the equivalent of putting water on it. Peacemaker says, thank you so much for your peers and support and the time you blessed me with. Cheers, buddy. Cheers, buddy. I appreciate you being here today. I really do. Every word you say into the universe is self-hypnosis. Why do you think it's called spelling? The spelling of a word. What does spelling mean? It means you're putting a spell on somebody, or you're putting a spell on yourself. It's a spell. That's what it is. It's hypnosis. It's a spell. And people really underestimate how important their words are and their thoughts are. We're so close at the end of the bear market. We are so close to the end of the bear market. Yeah. Fear index is 18 today. Is it really? Holy cow. Okay, so we're an hour and 20 minutes into the show today. We haven't even got to the mempool yet. But let's check this out. Fear, greed, Bitcoin. What do you use? CoinMarketCap? That's the first one that popped up. 18. Wow. Yesterday was... This is interesting. Oh, wrong one. Extreme fear is 18 today. So the lowest yesterday was 20. Last week was 22. Wow. So people are more fearful today than they were even last week. That's hard to believe. Last month was 39. Holy. So when you look at the yearly high was last July. So almost a year ago, we were at greed of 71. Wow, that's crazy in a year. Oh. And the extreme fear was 5 in February 2026. And another chart we pay attention to here, which we haven't looked at for a while now, but is the price of gold. We actually still, believe it or not, even though we're way down from a couple months ago, in what was this? May, we were at 17. Yeah, so we haven't, we're not down that much. But we're still hanging on to this prediction here. I haven't made many predictions. Anybody who's been watching the show for the last little while, I haven't made many predictions, but I did call this bottom. And even after all the shit we've been through in the last 4 or 5 months, we predicted the bottom. We predicted the bottom on March 2nd. So that fear greed said that the lowest was in February, I think. And we predicted the bottom. It was pretty close to that, 12.17. And we called the bottom of 12.11 something. But Sats and Sunsets still has the screenshot of it. If you don't believe me, we got the proof. We called the bottom, and it could still go lower. I don't think it will, but it could. But I'm pretty proud of that one. We'll see. And even if the price does end up going lower in fiat terms, like if it goes down to 58 or 55 or 50, or some people call them for 40, whatever it may be, I still think that what you need to pay most attention to is the Bitcoin to gold price, because fiat's just a joke. Fiat's a joke. We still measure everything in US dollars. That's still the world reserve currency. But it's just so variable. It's so volatile. That's really what's most volatile, is the dollar. It's not Bitcoin. It's the dollar. And when you have units that can be created with zero energy, that's a silly comparison. Gold, I would say that gold's even so much different than Bitcoin, because 2% a year is different than 0% a year in terms of new inflation, new supply, new stock to flow. But the comparison Bitcoin to gold makes much more sense, because at least nobody can just print gold. So I think that when you're measuring the price of Bitcoin, you should measure it in gold. And so this is the bottom that we predicted back in March 2nd. 12 ounces of gold for 1 Bitcoin. One day it'll be 150 ounces for a Bitcoin, and then it'll be 1,500 ounces of gold for 1 Bitcoin, because one of these things we can find forever. There's an infinite amount of gold. Even though they kind of control how much we mine and what gets put into the supply, there's an infinite amount of gold. So these two things even are much different as well. There's an infinite amount of gold. There is a absolutely fixed amount of Bitcoin. So over time, again, assuming that people continue to adopt and use and pay attention to Bitcoin, We'll go from 15 ounces for one Bitcoin to 150 ounces to 1,500 to 15,000 to however much. Infinity. Never ends. There's no top on how much purchasing power one Satoshi will have. There's just not. Because literally everything, gold's probably the most scarce thing that exists other than Bitcoin, and it's infinite. We'll always have enough gold to meet demand. Always. In the oceans, in the mountains, in space, forever. If there's enough people that want gold, we're going to find more gold. But with Bitcoin, if there's enough people that want Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. We can't make more Bitcoin. So these two things, even though gold's scarce and hard and rare, these two things even are much different. Because one, there's an infinite amount, and one is there an absolutely fixed amount. I think Basel 3 endgame will help with 2027 Q1 bull market. Maybe. Loading with a shovel for now. We'll be ready with my truck when it hits 40. If I miss it, then so be it. 100% don't be an asset to your government. Scotty Boy says, I need to get my Lightning node back up and running. What are you using for a Lightning node? What are you using? Sato says, people are going through hardship. We build a strong community. We must build a strong community and support one another. I agree. You know, there was a comment I saw this morning. Where is that? It was on the BTC Mastermind. BTC Mastermind. It was on the video from yesterday. Somebody was chirping me, I saw. What was the comment here? What a good freaking show this was. What a good freaking show this was. But anyways, I'll get back to that comment in a second. Sato millionaire.
Thinking America is shitty or
But,
the middle of Alabama is awful or something like that. Like that's
the show.
that energy. And
We had
in about 7 months, and I want to bring like a 1-2 hour video around that.
But anyways, somebody left a comment from Jordan BJ. He said, CBDCs are orders of magnitude worse than what we currently have. The level of control is surgical, like precision. Not the same thing at all. Jor's kind of starting to lose me. Jor's kind of starting to lose me. So basically what I said is like, we already have CBDCs. We have a digital dollar. And, you know, he has a little bit of a point here, I guess, in the sense of there will be more control. I agree with that. But like, if you say something wrong or do something wrong, they still have full ability to freeze your bank account today. They have that ability. And I wasn't like arguing saying that I'm pro CBDCs. It's not what I was saying. I was just saying that people don't realize how bad we have it today. We pretty much already live in a world with CBDCs. And it's just like people are so scared of them that they're coming. They don't want them from the government. But like we already have that version of it. But anyways, my response to that was relax. We're on the same team. Don't get lost in the sauce. And that's what I was trying to say here is like this comment. It's like we have to help each other in these moments. We're all on the same team. I know we're all from different countries. I know some of us like Michael Saylor. Some of us don't. Some of us run BIP 110. Some of us don't. Some of us hate Donald Trump. Some of us love Donald Trump. Some of us don't really care too much. But the point is, we're all on Team Bitcoin. We have to support each other. We don't need to be at each other's throats about the stupidest shit. Understand that we're all working together here. And the more we can work in harmony, the faster this process will go. The faster the old world will crumble. We must build a strong community and support one another. Buy from Bitcoin businesses, support Bitcoin initiatives, share knowledge, and help build resilient communities. Amen. A frickin' men to that. Alaskan Wolf says, Jor, how to keep Bitcoin in cold storage without anyone being able to track it? Anytime I buy from an exchange, it requires KYC and transfer to my cold storage. Others can just map the whole thing out. I'll give you a little bit of I'll give you a little, I'm not going to say too much here. I'm not going to say too much. So if you're not watching the screen and you want information on this, I'm not going to say too many words here, but I'm going to show you something for this question, because this is a great question. I think this is actually what a lot of people have done and are doing wrong every day, even though they think, oh, hey, I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm opting out of that system. I'm sending it to my cold storage. That's what my favorite YouTuber told me to do. Not my keys, not my coins. But there's a problem with that, because as Alaskan Wolf said, they're going to be able to track those UTXOs forever. That UTXO is forever going to be attached to your name, unless you do things a little bit differently. So actually, these last 3 episodes, and I can't talk about this stuff on YouTube. And you know, I've mentioned this before, but it's like, you know, we have this community here. It's called the Visionaries community. I told you I don't have any sponsors, so this is part of what keeps the lights on in my household. What keeps food in my stomach here is people becoming members of the Visionaries. My value that I provide is how to navigate this kind of stuff, because Bitcoin's fucking scary. It really is. And I've been through this whole thing before. Bitcoin's very scary. It's very lonely. There's a lot of uncertainties, and most people have nobody to talk to about this stuff. And they don't even know who they can trust online either, because there's a lot of bad actors on the internet. So it's not free to get access to this course. It shouldn't be. This is very valuable information, because I put in the time, I've spent the money, I've lost the sats, I've learned all these lessons. And so the value that I'm providing to this community is sharing these stories, sharing these resources and tips, so that you don't have to waste your time and waste your sats doing what I did. So that's the value that I'm providing here. And there's stuff that I just simply can't talk about on the live streams. And if you look at these last 3 episodes that we've done in this course, the last 4, 6, and 7. And basically in episode number 7, we talked about, again, I don't want to say too much here. I just, you know, for obvious reasons, but there's 4, 6, and 7 all around that topic there. But I would argue that the most important episode in this whole course so far has been the second one. And in terms of cold storage, yeah, it's easy to buy a hardware device, very easy to set it up, very easy connected to your Sparrow wallet. The hard part is knowing what to do with it, what to do with the device, what to do with your 12 words, what to do with your passphrase. Do you need a passphrase? Where do you store your passphrase? So if you watch this episode here, number 2, you're going to pretty much 10x your Bitcoin security just from this episode. It's an hour and 24 minutes long. This episode number 6 was very long, I think. It was almost 2 hours. But we were talking about the last 3 episodes have been how to do this a little bit more privately, where even though you're kind of KYC'd, there's still things that you can do. There's the flow that you can follow, where even though the exchange will know that you bought the Bitcoin, they'll have no idea where it goes from there. And really, that's why that one's titled Breaking the Chain, because that's a very easy thing that you can implement into your setup and to make yourself much more private and sovereign for the future. So that's the Visionaries community. It's like I said, it's not free, but I want to make it accessible to everybody. I don't want to leave anybody out here. So it's $22 a month or $200 per year, and you get access to all the content, all the courses I've done, and this digital homestead course, which talks about security, privacy, and it really builds into a multi-sig, which is where you want your private keys to be stored, in a multi-sig. Geographically dispersed, no Bitcoin at your house, no trace of Bitcoin at your house, proper backups, and multi-sig. So you need 2 keys to access your Bitcoin. That's where you want to get to. And that's really what the goal of this course is, to help people get there. So like I said, the price is laughable. If you go through the course and you decide that it wasn't worth your time and energy, it's 100% sats back guarantee. So if you feel like you got ripped off or you didn't get the value that you thought you were getting, no questions asked, I'll send you your full amount back in Bitcoin. That's how confident I am that the value that you're getting far exceeds what you're paying to be in there. So school.com/88 sats. And that's where we can talk about that stuff. That's where you can learn about how to do that kind of stuff. And it is very, very important. I think that the thing that most Bitcoiners do, there's two things. Two things that most Bitcoiners do wrong. Number one is they go through all the proper steps. They buy the Bitcoin, they buy a cold card, they learn to set up the cold card, they send the Bitcoin to their Sparrow wallet, which is connected to their cold card. They do everything right. But then they leave the cold card and their 12 words in the same location. And I've been guilty of this myself. I probably spent a year of my life doing this, where I had the device and the 12 words in my house. And if something were to happen to my house, my Bitcoin would have been gone. Thank God nothing happened. But if something would have happened to my house, my Bitcoin would have been gone. So I think that that's the biggest thing that most Bitcoiners do wrong. The second one is buying from an exchange like River, like Bitcoin Well, like Coinbase, like Kraken, like whatever, KYC'd exchange. Again, they go through the right process. They set up their hardware device. They connect Sparrow. They air gap the whole thing. Their private key never touches the internet. But they send their Bitcoin directly from River to their Sparrow wallet, and that's just where it stays. And it doesn't move. And so if River or ShakePay or Coinbase ever got subpoenaed and they got records of the address that you sent it to, they still see that Bitcoin's sitting there. And if you move it, it helps. But you're just basically telling the government how much Bitcoin you have and where it is. But again, that's kind of like a step up the ladder. That's not like day one, you buy a cold card and send it to your cold storage. This is like people who have progressed in Bitcoin. But there's so many Bitcoiners who just do that, that process there of cold storage or a KYC exchange to cold storage, and it just sits there. And so you're just giving the government like the access to all of your financials. Even though it's cold storage, even though it'd be hard to seize, they know that you have the key to that Bitcoin. They can see it because it came from your KYC'd account. So my recommendation would be to spend $20 fucking dollars. $20. Watch those 3 episodes. Make some changes in your setup. Become more private, even buying a KYC exchange. And then if you don't like it, cancel your membership. But like you have to have that information. You have to change your process so that you're not doing things. I know it's difficult. I know it's going to take some of your time. I know it's $20. But like, man, in 5 years from now, you're going to say, thank God, Jor finally kicked me in the ass enough to do it. And then you're going to make some changes and you're going to have new knowledge and you're not going to be doing things like a dummy anymore. And not even a dummy. It's just like most people don't know. This is all new to us. So that's my recommendation. If you're not a member in there, you can join for another 6 days for free. Then I'm cutting it off. If you're a free member in there already, upgrade, pay the $20, watch the course. You're going to be in a much, 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 much better. It'll be the best. I would say go for the year. Go through the whole course. I said $20, but go for the whole year. You'll get all the course, the whole community, and you're going to be in a much better position overall as a Bitcoiner, having gone through that course. And again, if you disagree, I'll send it all back to you without any sort of questions. That's how absolutely confident I am that it'll be worth your time and your money. What's this? Sats and Sunsets gifted 88 memberships. Wow, 88 memberships. Oh no, 188 Sats membership. Who got it? John Bova. Congratulations, John Bova. You actually get access to all the things I just talked about there. So shout out to our guys Sats and Sunsets for buying 88 memberships. John got all 88 of them. Sats and Sunsets, Memby. But John's going to get access to the course. All 7 episodes are on YouTube for the members. And Locks guys bought a couple memberships. Sats and Sunsets has bought some memberships on YouTube. And all the recipients of that And if you're lazy, if you're like, oh, I don't want to get a school account, way too much work, you can just join as a member on the YouTube and you'll get access to those 7 episodes I talked about. Not the best way for you, but the easiest way for you, I'd say. If you don't want to create a whole new account. People just have such friction of like, oh, I don't want to create a new account. I don't need another account, which is fair. But I think that it'll be, if you give a shit about your Bitcoin, this is an important part of it. And like I said, the value that I provide to the community is I'm there every day. I'm in there every day. You can look at you can actually audit my proof of work of how much time I spend in the school community, answering questions, making posts, doing this course. It's there. It's fully transparent, the proof of work that I put into that community. So it's not just like a passive thing that I do. It's there's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's important information. So that's what I would say is check out that. I know it's a shitty answer, but you know, I gotta watch what I talk about on here, and it's valuable information. Only 18. Call me when it's less than 5. I don't think it's gonna be Scotty Boy, but I could be wrong. Sin Diesel's here. Sin Hogan. Sincere. Sin Deezy. Good morning, Sin. Good to see you, buddy. Alaskan Wolf says, in the UK, anytime we buy Bitcoin from an exchange and send it to our cold storage, we need to declare all sorts of things about that private wallet before the transaction is allowed. We need to declare all sorts of things about that private wallet before the transaction is allowed. So yeah, I mean, you could still do that. The route that I shared yesterday, the flow of it, you can do it Lightning or you can do it on chain. And it's not that hard. You just got to be kind of aware of what needs to be done. But looks like Chuck got a membership over on Rumble. Chuck, you may or may not be aware of this, but you are a fight away. No, we're going to call what's the hat trick? A big zap, a membership, and a zap, a fiat zap. So a rant on Rumble or a super chat. And so what would those be? I feel like the membership would be an assist. We're going to call the membership an assist. We're going to call the zap a goal. And we're going to call the rant a fight. So Chuck was actually the 3rd person to ever get a Satoshi hat trick last week. We had Sats and Sunsets, Jenny Legendary, and Chuck. Those are the 3 people who have got a Satoshi hat trick. And Chuck's a fiat zap away from it today again for the 2nd time. Look at this. We got Sweat and Smiling Together over on Rumble, our newest follower over on Rumble. I saw that they subscribed to the channel today. So good morning, Adam. Good morning, Lori. Great to see you. Bitcoiner says there will come a day when you cannot exchange USD for Bitcoin. Coming soon. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do here? I've been thinking about this. I think I'm gonna do it. So I'm actually gonna cut off the show here right now. I'm gonna cut off the show because I'm gonna go live again in maybe 2 hours. I'm gonna go live again in 2 hours, and I'm gonna do like a Bitcoin security refresher today. I'm going to do a Bitcoin security refresher. We'll do it this afternoon. So I'm going to shut things off right now. And maybe in 2 hours, I'll come back on. I'll do another live this afternoon for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that a lot of people could use this information. Like I said, I talked about the community. I really appreciate everybody who has joined the community and going through the course with us. But I still think that this information needs to get out there. So I'm going to do a show today. It'll be kind of like a Bitcoin security Q&A. I'll talk about some stuff. People can ask questions. And we'll do that this afternoon because I usually meet with Rajat and Forrest, but they're away this week. So I figured we might as well do it. Hey, look at this. Chuck with the Satoshi hat trick for the 2nd time. The last 2, Chuck. As much as I'd love to keep going here, we're almost 2 hours into it, and I do want to do that show this afternoon. So let's do that instead. I remember when you showed dollar to Bitcoin price chart to Brandon is down 99.9%. Not many realize that. No, it's down 100%, man. It's down 100%. USD in Bitcoin terms. It's down 100%. Wow, we had like 40 people watching on YouTube like 2 minutes ago. Now there's 14. How the fuck does that even happen? This is the chart, though. This is the... that's why I like Rumble. Rumble doesn't play games with me. They just let me speak. The US dollar is down 100% in Bitcoin terms. So for anybody who says that Bitcoin's a shitty store of value, Bitcoin isn't that great of a hedge of against inflation. Okay, well, how about 100%? 100%. Wow. How could anybody see that chart and be like, or not be like, wonder what's going on there? Maybe I should buy some of that Bitcoin stuff that all these stupid idiots keep talking about. Oh my God. This is probably top 3 songs of for me. Top 3. Look at Blake Shelton. This is back when Blake was good. 3 different pictures of Arnie there too. Austin. Oh my God. I'm going to turn this one up. I'm going to hit the road. Oh, but I was asking for something here. I was asking you guys and girls for something here. Look at that. Bitcoin nurse. Memby from Chuck. That boy, Chuck. Chuck with the hattie today. Chuck with the hattie. Hell frickin' yeah. Kind of love that must be. She waited 3 days. Okay, we got a couple more to report here. What is this? We got some support from the Bitcoin nurse. He said, "Speaking truth daily, much appreciated. TBN." And 3294, thank you, Bitcoin nurse. And we also got one from Andre. He says, "I support the 10% tax rate. The tax code way too complicated." Thank you, Andre. Thank you, TBN, for the support. And this is what I was going to talk about here. So I kind of mentioned we'll get Arnie in the shot here a little bit. Oh, he decided he didn't want to be. But what I was going to say, hopefully this mic doesn't come undone here. What I was asking of people here, and I was hoping to get some info from people today, was I want to start doing, like I mentioned, I was going to start doing things slightly different in August. About mid-August, there's going to be a day in August where we change things a little bit here. And nothing you're going to have to do. Probably not too much in your life is going to change. But we're going to be doing a slightly different kind of stream. It's obviously going to be focused on Bitcoin still. Who the hell was that? Who the hell was that, Aaron? Doesn't even... Oh, there he is. Somebody just drove by, man. You're supposed to be on top of this stuff. What do you think I'm paying you for? What do you think I'm feeding you for? Fine. But anyways, so the information that I want is that part of the new live stream that I want to do, I want to have like a 8 to 10 minute segment every day where we do the same stuff. You know how we go through like the mempool, we go through the time chain, we talk about some other stuff. Maybe we'll look at the price of gold. But I'm wondering, like, if we were to do like a quick 10-minute recap of like what's going on in Bitcoin today. I want to call it Bitcoin Today, BT. Bitcoin today, and it'll be part of the stream, but I'm going to clip it, and it'll be like this little wee daily segment called Bitcoin Today. And like I said, it'll be no additional work. We'll do it part of the stream. I can clip it easily from StreamYard. It'll be almost zero additional work for me. But what kind of stuff should we put in there? I was kind of thinking like the mempool, obviously, the difficulty, the time chain, the exchange rate, how many sats you can get per dollar. Maybe like the top. No, I don't even want to cover news. I want to include like one reminder though. One reminder of like what Bitcoiners need to do for their security or their mindset or something like that. I want to have one reminder in there every day, just for the repetitiveness, repetition. But what else? What kind of information would you guys and girls want me to put in that 10-minute segment? I'm curious. And if you can't think of anything right now on the spot, that's okay. I don't really expect you to. But let me know. If you think of it later, you can leave a comment. If you're watching this later, you have an idea, you can leave a comment. But we're going to start doing that in August. So it'll be, like I said, slightly different, but really not that different. And I'm interested to know. There's Chuck. TBN says, absolute truth, George. Got to transfer that Bitcoin to a transfer address first, then to its final destination. Exactly. And you ideally want to completely cut the chain on the chain, break the chain of tracking you. That's what you want to do. Even if you don't spend it, even if you just keep it there for the next 50 years, you want to make sure that the exchange that you KYC'd yourself at doesn't know that you still have that Bitcoin. That's the whole point. CWH Buck 52 says the beatings will continue until morale improves. Will it though? Why do I feel like morale will improve when price starts going up again? It happens every time. All of a sudden, all the bears will fucking go back into hibernation for another 4 years, and it'll be euphoric. Why do I feel like the strike price dropping has to do with BTA being launched by BlackRock? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, cheered on BlackRock. But we shouldn't have. But again, it was inevitable. Bitcoin would never have succeeded if BlackRock didn't do that. Truly, I don't think so anyways. I just don't think people have that much like get up and go. People don't really care that much about things. So we just would have been talking about this shit for the next 50 years if people like BlackRock didn't acknowledge Bitcoin for what it is. So it's good and bad. Good and bad. Same in Japan. Lots of questions to take off the exchange. How will it fail, Jackie? Please exchange. Oh, sorry, I missed this one. Jackie says, isn't it dangerous to go all in Bitcoin in case it fails? Why not have other traditional assets for diversity or a hedge? I mean, yeah. I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm just saying I don't. And I talked about this earlier in the show, Jackie Tucker. Wow. Who's the Tucker? Oh, no, that's Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. That's what I was thinking about. But yeah, you can. Like I said, I'm willing to sacrifice some gains so that I don't have to give any of my attention, my time, my capital to that system. I want that system to die. And it is dying. And I feel like the more people who take their wealth out of that system, the faster it dies. So yeah, you could diversify. But as Zygrade said, how will it fail? How will it fail? Price keeps going down or sideways for extended periods. I mean, it's not going to fail. That's not going to make it fail. I mean, if it went sideways or down for 20 years, maybe it fails. If it went down to $2,000 and it stayed there for a year, probably has failed, but it still hasn't really failed. It's just not looking good. Yeah, this is a great point. That's what I was talking about there. We talked about like the 10% to charity, 10% to the government, 10% to your savings. You take 10%, you buy Bitcoin, and you just leave it there. You could leave it there for 20 years. Bitcoin could have gone down for 10 years in a row. But then all of a sudden it starts going back up. You check in 20 years from now, You don't care. You didn't waste any of your time worrying about it. And I think that that's, I mentioned this to Brandon the other day, and I could tell that he, recognized it. I could tell that he recognized it. Whenever I say things, because I say a lot of shit, I talk a lot of shit. And the people like in the YouTube comment section there saying that I've lost, what did they say? What did he say? I've almost, George's starting to lose me. And when I first saw that comment, I was like, am I going too far? Am I taking things too far? But then I was like, fuck that. I hope that I'm losing him, because the way I see the world, a lot of people don't see. And so if I was saying things and everybody was like, oh yeah, way to go, Jor, you're the best. You make total sense. You make so much sense. Everything that you say makes sense to me. Then I wouldn't be doing anything. I would be parroting things. I would be like a parrot, just repeating things. Because when things you say make sense to other people, you're talking about the wrong things, in my opinion. So the more I thought about that, I was like, that's actually a hidden compliment, because the way that I think, most people don't think that way. And most people don't have the ability to. Most people just don't think, period. And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, or I'm more special than anybody else here. I don't believe that's the case. I just think that I am different. But that's okay. And in this case, I believe that the different part of me, whatever that is, whatever gene that is, or whatever life experience I had that, put that in me, is going to be a very good thing. And it sucks some days. You feel like a dipshit. That's why I titled the show, Bitcoiners Should Feel Stupid. And that's the feeling that you should have. That's the feeling that you should embrace, is unless you're being called stupid, you're with the herd. And I don't think any of us here want to be with the herd. So again, if you're not being called stupid right now, you're part of the herd. And Bitcoiners are not in that herd. They're just not. Some people do things that are, bot-like and normal and herdish. But for the most part, you want a different life. You want a different world. And you got to remember that. Bitcoin isn't for anyone who likes decent returns that keep pace with inflation. Without bad actors like Saylor killing the market with Ponzi schemes. I mean, I don't like Stretch. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I like Stretch. I do. I don't own Stretch. I wouldn't advise any of my friends or family members to own Stretch. But that doesn't mean it's a Ponzi. That doesn't mean it's a Ponzi. In fact, it's very far from a Ponzi scheme, my friend. It could not be further away from a Ponzi scheme. Because if you believe STRC is a Ponzi scheme, then you believe that Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme, because STRC is backed by Bitcoin. Are they doing things perfectly? No. Is it benefiting the market? I don't think it's doing anything really, because as I mentioned yesterday, I think that whoever is buying Stretch probably would have had that money in Bitcoin in self-custody. So I think it's probably a net negative overall for Bitcoin. Sucks to say that, but it's reality. But I love Saylor, and it's definitely not a Ponzi scheme. And again, if you think that STRC is a Ponzi scheme, you don't understand what the hell you're talking about, just straight up. Because it's not a Ponzi scheme. The guy has $900,000 or 900,000 Bitcoin. You think that he can't pay some dividend obligations? What part of that is a Ponzi scheme? Jackie. Wow. Jackie Tucker. Need any more raids? Yes, we need a couple more raids. Thanks for asking. Anyways, it's fun. This is fun. We're having fun. Yeah, let's raid. Let's do a raid. Let's frickin' raid. Jay, I missed this one. He said, great upside to Bull Bitcoin Exchange. Their coins are pre-mixed when purchased. But what does that mean, pre-mixed? Because Bull Bitcoin would still have record of you having that UTXO, right? I love bull Bitcoin. I would recommend anybody who can use bull Bitcoin, use bull Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin well. That's what I use to buy Bitcoin. If I were in the US, I'd probably be using River or Bitcoin well. But I would never say a bad word about bull Bitcoin. I love the company. I love what they stand for. I love Francis. I love how they do things. It's just, I find Bitcoin well easier to use. And Bitcoin well also has a really cool feature of swapping on-chain to Lightning for free. I haven't seen anybody else that has that. So if you're in Canada and if you haven't used Bitcoin well, I would highly suggest just try them out. Get an account. You can never have too many accounts, especially like good ones, because you always want to be ready. You always want to be ready for when the price goes way up or way down. You want to make sure that you have the ability to buy or sell Bitcoin. So that's what I would recommend. Just give Bitcoin well a shot. Buy like $100, $200, $500 worth of Bitcoin. You can use Lightning, which is actually part of the process that we talked about in the digital homestead course yesterday that I was talking about. So you can use Lightning. You can swap for free on Lightning. You can set up automatic not withdrawals. What are those called? Recurring buys. And I just like Bitcoin well. I've met Adam. I've golfed with Adam. He's a great guy. I love what they stand for. And I love both those. Bitcoin well, bull Bitcoin, both really good in my books. I just find the process of buying Bitcoin on Bitcoin well easier. And usually when things are easier, you're trading off. There's a trade-off there, but I don't feel like there is with Bitcoin well. So try them out. And like I said, go through the flow, go through the process, buy some Bitcoin. If you don't like it, just never use them again. Never think about them again. But if you like them, who knows? Anyways, I got to go. There's a lot of fiat talk going on in here. So I'm going to come back in about social security. That's a real Ponzi scheme. STRC is not a Ponzi scheme. I personally don't think the TradFi system is going anywhere anytime soon, and personally wouldn't take that risk, but to each their own. Yeah, fair. Fair. Yeah. Bitcoin is no longer the cypherpunk vision. I mean, agree, but if Bitcoin were to ever go mainstream and go global and to be the new measurement of the world, it couldn't really just stay with a couple weirdos in their basement. Like, that's reality. You can still kind of make Bitcoin as cypherpunk as you want to. There we go, folks. Just Jams buying. MSTR $96. Wow. You know, the one regret, and this is where I want to end the show today. But by the way, I didn't see any responses to my question there of what we should do as part of the Bitcoin Today segment. So if you have any ideas, let me know. And then maybe I'll just figure it out myself. But what was I going to say there? MSTR. Oh, that's the one regret that I have. Is I pretty much put everything I had into Bitcoin and Bitcoin related companies. So I still have some money in like the old system. It's not very much. It's like maybe 5% of my portfolio overall is in stocks. But all the stocks that I have are Bitcoin stocks. Stupid. I should have had like some strategy and then something completely unrelated to Bitcoin. Then if I wanted to, I could kind of swap between the two. Bitcoin goes down, I sell the other one and buy more MSTR. MSTR goes way up, I sell some of that, buy whatever else I had. That'd be my one regret. I definitely don't regret not like trading the bottom and the top, because I personally think that that's stupid. But I do regret not having more, because I don't think that you should ever take Bitcoin that you have in self-custody and trade it for something else, unless it's like a house or something that is actually going to benefit your life. But for another investment, it never makes sense to me to take Bitcoin out of self-custody and buy something else with it. Never will happen. I will ride this shit to zero instead of sell it for something else. But I think we got different plans. We got different plans in place. Jay says semis were the play. Yeah. But next time, lesson learned. You can't ever succeed if you don't fail. So that's how I think about it. I still got all my Bitcoin in self-custody. I'm still smiling. I'm still healthy. What else could you ask for? Okay. See you in a few hours. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for listening to my rants. And thank you to Moravian, the big one today. Actually, Moravian and Chuck would be the MOBs today. I'll maybe do that. I'll fill in that spreadsheet sometime today, maybe if I have some time. I got to get that updated. I missed this whole week. So we got Moravian, we got Maria, we got Chuck with the Satoshi hat trick, we got Bill, we got Sats and Sunsets, we got the Bitcoin Nurse, and we got Andre. And I missed these ones. We got 18 and a 45 from our guy Sindeezy. Raid, thank you. Thank you. So let's go over and let's do a little raid here. Let's all just say hello. And if you're a regular watcher of the show, you probably I shouldn't say that. I was going to say you don't need to come to the show today, but it's going to be more of a refresher. It's going to be more of a refresher. And I think that we as Bitcoiners, we need more refreshers of like our setup, our security, our, going through the process of thinking these things through. So that's what we're going to do this afternoon in a few hours from now. Okay, what should we go to here? Live. Are Badlands live? Wendy Bell? Is that do we ever watch Wendy Bell? Wendy Bell. Yeah, let's go check out Wendy Bell. Looks like she's buzzing in there. Man, freaking. It just blows my freaking mind how many people care so much about the fucking Democrats and Republicans and whatever this dipshit said today. There's 3,000 people watching that. What do people get from it? That's what I don't understand. What do people get from watching that shit? I changed my mind. We're not going to do that. We're not going to fall into that shit. What else can we watch here? I'm just over it. And it's sickening to me how much energy these shows get for talking about what dipshit 1 said and what dipshit 2 said and what they think about it. Like, why? Where's Badlands? I like Badlands. Actually, let's find a smaller one here. Oh, let's go back to John Claude. I like this one. They talk about some weird shit on here, but I like it. The ego and the ego death. Okay, I like this one. We got Carla and Coco. That's where we're going. So if you're watching on Rumble right now, stick with us for a second. We're going to go say hi to Carla and Coco. And to everybody else, I'll be back in a couple hours, I guess. So here we go. Raid. Did I do it? Yeah. Confirm. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great day. We'll be back here tomorrow for Thursday. And we'll be back in a couple hours on YouTube and Rumble talking about Bitcoin security. Bye-bye.